All right, welcome to part 2 of getting ready for the Chapter 4A test. This is what everyone's going to be testing on Friday. So this has all of our factoring and solving. So that's kind of how I have it split between the first video of graphing and looking at axis of symmetry and vertex and all of that good junk. This one is about factoring and solving. Okay, so the first thing we did is factor. So this says factor completely. Reminder, this is when you're just going to write your answer like this. This is not what we did this week of solving. You're just factoring. All right, so for some odd reason, when I copied this over from Google, it wrote them down more than once, which is weird. All right, so this right here has all of our factoring mixed together, so this is where some people are going to find this challenging. We have a couple easy ones mixed in and then a couple tricky ones mixed in. Okay, so on this first one I see I have nothing in front of my x squared, so that means this is our easy one. So I'm going to go straight to this, and then reminder, the only way to get x squared is x and x, and then we have to think about our multiples of 42, and I have to add up to positive 1. So I know if I take negative 6 times positive 7, when I multiply those, I'm going to get negative 42, and when I add them, I get positive 1. I would recommend to some people that you do double check because I know some people are just struggling with their signs. Okay? All right, so that was our easy one. This next one is one of our trickier ones, but I'm going to give you guys a hint on how to make this one easier. Two things that I know about these two numbers, that they are perfect squares. So a way I can get to 16 is 4 and 4, and a way to get to 49 is 7 and 7. So this one's kind of a special rule. So I'm going to have double parentheses here. How I get to 16 squared is I'm going to take 4x and 4x. To get to 49, I'm going to get 7 and 7. Now we do have to double make sure, if I multiply this, does this add up to 40 or 56? So if I take 4 times 7, I get 28. If I take 7 times 4, I get 28. And 28 plus 28 gives me 56. Now, as an algebra 2er, if you left it like this, that would be gross. So we do have to take this to the next level. I see these are the exact same thing. So I do need to write this as 4x plus 7. And then you'll put a little 2 on the top there. Okay? So that one got a little bit trickier because we did have a number out in front. This next one, this one is also a little bit tricky because we have to get rid of something first. So my video that I did last week, this talked about we never lead with a negative here. So what you have to do is factor out a negative first. So when I factor out a negative, that t squared is now positive, the 3t is now positive, and the 18 is now negative. Now what you're going to do is factor like regular. Now reminder though, that negative does need to come down. It is part of our answer. I see there's nothing in front of my t squared now, which makes it easier. So how I get t squared is taking t times t. And to get to negative 18 but positive 3, I'm going to have positive 6 and negative 3. If I multiply those two, I will have negative 18, and when I add them, I have positive 3. So that one's a little bit challenging. Make sure you take out that negative, and it's got to chill out in front. This one also is a little bit challenging. So I see I have big numbers, and I have x's everywhere. So that kind of should be alarm bells that we got to take out some stuff first. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out some 5 and an x. When I do that, I'm going to be left with 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. Now I had some people on their homework last week stop here. We need to take that farther. But again, reminder that 5x, it does need to be part of our answer. Okay, so that 5x is out in front, and now we're going to have regular factoring. Now this one again a little bit more challenging because I do have a 2 out in front here. So the only way to get to 2x squared is by taking 2x times x. Now to get to 3, I'm going to have 1 and 3. Now reminder, I'm trying to add up to 7 here, so I'm going to put that 3 here and that 1 here. If I do a quick double check, 2 times 3 gives me 6, 1 times 1 gives me 1, and when I add that together, I'm going to get that 7. So again, reminder, when you take something out, it's got to chill out in front, and then you got to do regular factoring. Okay? Now this next one is again from that video I did last week where this is a special one. I see that 25 and 100, they are both perfect squares and they're separated by a minus. So I know I'm going to have to do difference of squares, but this one is special. This one I need you to study. Hint, hint. This one, 25 and 100 are very large numbers, so I should look to see if I can take something out first. Something we should all know about 25 and 100 is they're both divisible by 25. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a 25. When I do that, I'm going to have x squared minus 4. So that 25 will chill out in front, and then what we should notice is we again have difference of squares. So I'm going to have 25, x plus 2, and x minus 2. Okay, so always look to see, can you take something out first, and then see if you can factor it farther. Now this one right here, I see there's nothing I can factor out, there's nothing in common, so I have to do regular old factoring. But I need you to notice that there's a 5 out in front, so that does make this one a little bit more challenging. There's also a negative thrown in here, which also makes it a little bit more challenging. So to get to 5x squared, I need to take 5x times x. Now again, to get to 2, I have 1 and 2, but I know I need to get to positive 9. So I need to multiply the 2 to the 5, so the 2 will go here, and the 1 will go here. Now here's where some people have been messing up. I need to get to positive 9, so my 10 needs to be positive. So that means I have to multiply this 5 to a positive 2, and this 1 needs to be negative. If I multiply the 5 to the 2, I get positive 10. If I multiply this negative 1 to this x, I'm going to have negative 1, which then adds up to 9x. Okay. All right, I have to flip page again. So this is just regular factoring with all of our different methods. On the next page, I am going to have factoring with solving. So reminder in this section, when we are doing these, we have to make them all equal to 0. So reminder, our steps here are make it equal to 0, we factor, and then we solve. Okay. For some odd reason, again, I copied twice. Okay. All right. So what we have here is this one is difference of squares. So it's set equal to 0, so I can start factoring difference of squares. So I'm going to have x plus 7 and x minus 7. Okay. So again, I'm going to solve. So I'm going to have x plus 7 equals 0, and I'm going to have x minus 7 equals 0. When I solve, this one's going to equal negative 7, and this one will equal positive 7. Okay. All right, number 14, again, I see it already equals 0. I have this 3 out in front, though, so it's going to make it a little bit trickier. But I need to remember that only way to get to 3x squared is 3, so I'm going to have 3x and x. And then for 8, I have a couple ways to get to 8. I have 1 and 8, and I have 2 and 4. But I'm trying to get to 10, so I probably should multiply that 3 to the 8. So I'm going to try the 4 here and the 2 here. I know 3 times 4 is 12. This here is going to give me 2. I'm trying to get to negative 10. So I'm going to make the 12 negative and the 2 positive. And when I do that, I'm getting negative 10. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take each of these and we're going to solve them. This one, when I solve it, I'm getting x equals negative 2/3. And this one, I'm getting x equals 4. Okay, so that one a little bit more challenging than number 13. This one, again, it already equals 0, so that's perfect. I also don't have a number out in front, so that makes this one a little bit easier. So I just need to have x and x. To get to negative 15, I'm going to have positive 5 and negative 3. That multiplies to negative 3 and adds up to 2. So now we're going to solve it. X is going to equal negative 5, and x is going to equal 3. Okay. All right, our last 3 real quick again. If you need a pause, if I'm going too fast, let me know. Alright, so number 16, I want you guys to notice again, I got a perfect square and another perfect square. How I get that is I take 3 and 3 and 5 and 5. So I'm going to take 3x and 3x. And I'm going to put the 5, but I need everyone to notice I do have a negative here. So I'm going to have negative 5 and negative 5. If I multiply this, I have 3 times 5, which is 15. I have 3 times 5, which is 15. And when I add up both those negative 15s, I'm going to get that negative 30. Now, this, remember, is a special one that these two are the same thing. So I really only need to solve this once. Reminder, that means it's hitting this at the vertex. So I'm going to solve this, and I'm going to get positive 5/3. Okay. Alright, oop, copied again. What a weirdo. Alright, so this one, difference of squares. So I'm going to have x plus 5 and x minus 5. Again, when we solve these, I'm going to go straight to solving. We're going to have x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. Reminder, if you want to get real crazy, you could write this as x equals positive negative 5. Alright, our last one, I feel like I've zipped through this really fast. Positive, you need it. Our last one, I want you guys to notice again, perfect square, perfect square. So how I get 4 is I take 2 times 2. How I get 81 is 9 and 9. So I'm going to take 2x and 2x. This time I don't really have to worry about signs because everything's positive, so I'm going to have plus 9, plus 9. Real quick, double check, 2 times 9 is 18, 2 times 9 is 18. When I take 18 plus 18, I'm going to get 36. I'm just going to bring down one of them and solve because they're going to be the exact same thing. So when I subtract that 9 divided by 2, I'm going to have x equals negative 9 halves. Alright, so you now have part 1 and part 2 to watch and listen to get ready for your test. Make sure you do those, your red packet or your red sheet and your pink packet. Make sure to get those done. And all your homework, I will see you on test day. Good luck.